episode 4.
Here we are.
Let's go.
16 left.
Yeah.
And then we're top 1%.
Yeah.
Not to put the pressure on, but it keeps the wheels turning, doesn't it?
Yeah.
First with a guest, though.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Hello.
Crazy. How we doing?
Yeah, good, man.
Good. So, if anyone that's listening, watching, however you're doing this. So, joined by Dan, obviously my co-host, and also Dan, our first guest.
Hey.
Yeah. It doesn't make it confusing or anything. Yeah.
I just assumed it was Dan because you said DJ. I was like, it's got to be Dan.
There we go.
Yeah. So, just a bit about, just go straight into it, of like how I know you as our first guest. We've not just picked you up off the street or anything.
Just like, outside.
Walking around Leicester like, do you want to come on our podcast? Got no friends. So I met you 2011?
2011.
Yeah.
End of 2011, wouldn't it?
That ski season, end of 2011. Yeah. So we both worked at Ellis Brigham at Tamworth Snowdome, met there.
At where?
Tamworth Snowdome. Ellis Brigham, like the snowboard shop.
It's like the big ski shop.
Oh, okay. Sound. Yeah.
God, that seems so long ago.
Well, it is now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Over 10 years.
That's crazy.
Which is not, I feel like saying that out loud, do you?
Yeah. I was like, we finished uni as well that year. Met there. And then it turned out you also knew one of our best mates, Toby. Shout out to Toby.
Shout out to Toby.
So you knew him through his mate at uni because Toby was in Birmingham Uni.
Yes.
Through Robin. So it was like, had this like little like connection of circles and it just went from there.
Yeah, it's surprising how small the industry is, isn't it? When everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
I guess in every industry it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
But you realise how tiny they are.
Yeah, especially like snow sports as well, and everybody knows Toby.
Yeah, everyone knows Toby
because you've experienced a trip out with Toby, then you'll know Toby. Yeah. So that's how we met, and then like 13 years on, 12 years on, we're still
hanging out.
Yeah.
So did you guys like snowboard together, ski together?
Not when we first.
Only been out abroad like once together.
Is it once?
Kitzbühel.
Yeah.
I've done it before, have we?
Did you get to go on when you worked at the Snowdome? Did you get to go out a lot, or were you in the shop most of the time?
Yeah,
mostly in the shop. Yeah, so like we could get free access onto the slope.
Yeah,
but that would be like after hours.
Yeah,
pretty much. So like on Tuesdays there was like a ramp night where they put all the rails and the jumps out. So quite often we'd stick over. That'd be the main night that we'd mainly ride.
Yeah, I remember just having my snowboard in my car all the time because it was like, right, who's riding tonight? It's just like, all right, okay, then go on then. Like finishing at 7, was it? And then
7 finish and
just
slopes ready at 8.
Yeah,
was it? Or?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. For some reason, I thought we'd been away more. Maybe we just hadn't. It was just probably because it's like Snowdome.
Just Kitzbühel, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Tamworth is obviously the best.
Well,
best slope in Europe.
Best resort in the Milky Way.
Yeah. So I thought we'd been away more, but from that we just rode and then like just been friends, been gigs, done that. Yeah. Obviously went Kitzbühel early 2020, and then got out the day before it went into lockdown.
The day before.
Like the Friday was when the resort closed.
That was the Monday. We left on the Sunday, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know if we were going to get out in time.
Really?
Yeah.
You never told me that.
Have I not?
I don't think so, no.
I was genuinely fingers crossing. I was like, I hope we get to just accidentally just stay in Austria for a little bit. That'd be a damn shame. Yeah, it was a really weird time because obviously the week leading up, you heard rumours of what this COVID thing was, and no one really knew what to. Like it was a bit of a weird vibe, wasn't it? And we had like those rumours that there was a breakout in the next town over, and all this kind of stuff. And luckily, honestly, just talking about it, like the hotel that we were in was just full of like wellness facilities. So rather than going out of an evening, we just hunkered down in the hotel and just
chilled out.
Sparred.
There was four saunas, wasn't there? Was it four saunas?
4 different saunas.
Yeah, one with like a tea bag in the middle where you like sprayed water on the tea bag, flavoured. And there was like an infrared sauna. There was the steam room, and then there was like a cave sauna, and then just your standard sauna. It was incredible.
And
Pool.
The sunbeds.
Yeah, and the sunbeds. Yeah. So we got out literally just as that was about to break out, and then that was the last time I've only seen you like a couple of times since then, to be fair.
Yeah, just in passing, I guess, through the pop-ups. And
then this year at Slam Dunk. Yeah. So, I'd say DJ's a good mate of mine, and we thought it'd be great to have him on as our first guest, and we'll go into it. But So, do you want to say anything extra?
Not really,
Like,
just
open up to-
sort of like keen to understand your background. Obviously, there's a
Yeah.
connection there. But yeah, just to understand sort of like you a bit more as a person growing up, obviously into snowboarding, skiing, potentially skating.
Pretty
so,
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just
Yeah.
like, I think it was one of those things that, because I'm like a huge music fan as well.
Mhm.
And I think like music and alternative sports, whatever you want to call them, they kind of like tie in very heavily with each
Yeah.
other. So I don't know which, I think music influenced me first, but then also I think from delving into like early skate and BMX, that's how you discover more music.
Yeah.
And it's just like a little constant battle. So like music for me is like top of everything. Like my passion for it is, like I'm just constantly trying to seek out new bands and new music,
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. Obviously, age has caught up with me, so the skating and the BMXing and all that has kind of waned as it does. But
Yeah.
hey ho, yeah. So I still like ride bikes quite a lot. Road biking is my newest phase because it's just easy just to leave your house and everything's
Go.
there ready for you.
Yeah.
Mountain biking is obviously way more fun, but it's getting to a place.
Yeah.
Like I think like Cannock Chase for me is like the closest one. That's like a 45-minute drive.
Yeah, it's like loading bikes up.
loading bikes.
Yeah,
up,
yeah, of
getting
course.
everyone that
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Road bike, you can just
You're straight
open
out.
up your front door and you're straight out. And
Yeah.
Off you
Do
go.
you do any of the
Yeah.
downhill stuff as well?
Yeah, I used to, but not so much
I
anymore.
remember going to Cannock Chase once and looking at the downhill runs, and I was like, "Nah, see you later."
Well,
I'll stick to the trails.
going back to like the ski stuff as well. Like I've spent a lot of time doing seasons abroad, so I've done Canada, New Zealand, Japan. The Canada and New Zealand ones, I was there for summers as well, so it's quite a common thing for skiers and snowboarders to switch
Yeah,
into summer mode. Which
yeah, because Whistler's like a massive
which is
mountain
like-
biking community, isn't it?
So
Yeah,
like I rode with a lot of good riders, which obviously helps me
Yeah.
bring up my levels as well. and
For
it's
sure.
Great. So, but I just don't really have the time or the money
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
Bike's expensive now.
Yeah.
yeah. I think the last time I looked, I just looked at like a hardtail, and like anything sort of like worth buying, you're starting at like 700-800 quid.
Oh, it's probably
I was like,
grand now.
What? 700 quid just for like basic?
And the problem is once you realise what's good, you can't go cheap again. Because,
Yeah.
Because like some stuff you can get away with being a bit frugal and going for a cheaper version, but with mountain bikes you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you sit on a good bike and you sit on a not so good bike,
Yeah.
even someone who doesn't know about bikes will 100% be able to.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's why we connected as well, because like we're into the same stuff. Like again, music, big part of like me and like what I like, and we like similar bands. You would say more on the heavy side of things. When I was seeing gigs, I was like, whoa. I was like, I like heavy music, but that is
Yeah, I go pretty experimental sometimes.
Yeah, when I talked to Toby, I'm like, I saw Deej was at a gig, and Toby was like, how heavy was it? I was like, it was pretty heavy. Like, you know, you'd come out, you'd be like, whoa. What the
come
hell?
out, you're like,
Yeah. So yeah, we're connected on that level, and obviously, like you ski and I snowboard, but we got along in that
yeah,
sense.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, we're all friends. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that was good with like riding like at Tamworth. It was like whoever ski or snowboard, it doesn't matter. It was just like we'll just ride in the.
It's all about hyping each other up, man. Like that whole
Yeah.
snowboard beef is so pathetic. isn't it?
Yeah, and I feel like that's the like obviously community stuff now. We want to build a community
Yes.
through a podcast.
Yep.
I feel like community in that scene now is when you connect with somebody, especially when it comes to like our age, being like, oh, I used to skate, I used to go up play Tony Hawk's, or I used to do whatever. Like you have that instant connection of being like, oh, we had like the same childhood, but we've not met each other or whatever at that time. But now it's like, you just connect over those things, and it's such a sick community now, like, which is really good. And like the whole mental health thing, that community is so much better than it used to be.
Oh, massively so. Yeah,
Like-
it was a proper backwards.
Yeah,
Not, I wouldn't say backwards, but very obviously. I'm sure anyone knows it. Like it's pure bro culture, right? Like
yeah,
it is what it is, and it just man up and send it and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah. Now it's a bit,
definitely getting. I think the world in general is
Yeah.
just getting more on slide, which is absolutely fantastic.
yeah, for sure. And I guess like going why we wanted to get you on the podcast is I'll let you kind of like take over and explain why you wanted to go, because you said about like you kind of jokingly said I'll come on the podcast,
Yeah, 'cause
based on
it's
stuff. So
pretty
then,
heavy, hey?
yeah,
Especially my newest news.
yeah. But
Well, I guess we can put a pin in that one for the
Yeah.
moment, and we can go back to the whole mental health thing first, because obviously
Absolutely.
that's more of a crucial thing.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah. So basically, so I've like like a lot of men, I've struggled massively with my mental health in the past, not really realizing why or what it was. You get like the brain fogs and the what you think is depression and sadness and all this, and you kind of like, I don't really understand what, because there's no information out there, no awareness, especially when you're younger and you just I don't know what you just kind of just struggle through, don't you? Just kind of power through.
Yeah, I'd say like when I met you, like I was in a good place, but then I look back and be like, I was not as good as I probably am now. And that's probably reasons, but we never spoke about any of that stuff.
You just don't know, do you?
No.
And you don't realise how many other people are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I've become quite open with a lot of stuff that I talk about. Like I don't really share. I am on Instagram quite a lot, and I do share a lot of stories, blah blah blah. But I'm quite mysterious about it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like mental health stuff, I'm really kind of like on it with my openness, because I think encouraging more people to talk about it, and the amount of people that I've had talk to me about it. So basically, a couple of years ago, I would probably say I had what you'd call a mental breakdown of sorts. Nothing's really been diagnosed from it, because the system, unfortunately, the NHS system is a bit, unfortunately, it's a bit kind of lackluster, and waiting lists are huge and everything. But I ended up speaking to like GPs and getting referred to blah 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 blah, and I ended up getting put on antidepressants, which I still am currently on, which for me, absolutely fantastic. I know that's a personal thing. Like for other people, it doesn't always work, or they have to find different levels of what they need and blah 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 blah. But for me, it's been absolutely fantastic. It's like cleared that brain fog that I used to have, and everything's a bit more clearer now. And it's such a.
What did life look like for you at the time? Like that, say 3-month window before your sort of like the breakdown period. What did life actually look like?
Almost like what triggered it? Would you?
I just want to get an understanding of sort of like how life was for you before the thing actually happened.
Well, weirdly, not that bad.
And I think that's almost what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
When you look back at it, I mean, probably a bit stressed at work, maybe a relationship issue. The kind of standard things, a bit of lost, like that kind of lost feeling where imposter syndrome or whatever it might be, or maybe you see a few things on Instagram and you're like, oh, this is the level I should be at, or I should be doing more of this, or I don't own a house yet, or I'm paying too much, blah blah blah, and you're like, and like you say, like when I look back at it, it's like, well, nothing was bad. It was just like a few hiccups in the road, and it just
being an adult.
Literally being an adult, being a thriving human being.
Yeah, but then like those pressures, like when you say about Instagram, like those social pressures can really build up and eat away at people.
The thing, they build and they build. And I think that was also my problem, because I'd feel it, and I'd get like panic attacks and stuff, and there'd be days where I'd be at work and I'd be like, and so even the guys at work would be like, hey, like Dan's having a bad day.
Yeah.
Kind of leave him to it, whatever, and I could just feel it like boiling over, and I'm like, sometimes I go into work and I'd be like, guys, I think today I might have a panic attack later, so if you just see me having a little cry in the corner, don't worry about it, kind of thing, because I just feel it like built, and then you just sit there, because the job I am is kind of like a bit, you work on your own quite a bit, so you're just there with your thoughts, and you're just like winding yourself up, and you're like, what am I winding myself up for? There's nothing to be winding myself up for.
And so did you have an outlet at all? Did you have people to talk to? Like, was there ever an opportunity for you to, like, I've got some mates who I can sit with and just have conversations with, and you get 20 minutes in and all of a sudden you're like you're able to offload and have like a rational conversation about all the stuff that's going on. Did you have that?
Yeah, I did have it, but I don't think I knew how much of it that I had until I put up a couple of posts on my Instagram story just being like, guys, like I'm just having a fucking terrible time right now, like everything is blah 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 blah, and the amount of people that reached out to me was incredible. And surprisingly, the amount of people that reached out to me who I didn't expect also in the same situation.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have those friends that you look up to and you're like, man, this guy is killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they're doing, or, you know, she's doing super well or whatever. And then they message you being like, oh yeah, so I've gone on antidepressants or whatever, or I've had this. And I was like,
Yeah.
no way. Like,
And that's why I think
so every single person has got a story.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much every single person has got a story about it.
Yeah, and that's why social media is like, so you got to take it as like face value. Like say with like you in the PT world, like you can probably see a lot of people like, you're like, oh my God, like they're killing this, killing that. And you're like,
It's a highlight reel,
yeah.
100%.
And it's,
but a highlight reel. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not for most people. It's not day-to-day life, is it? It's a highlight
No.
reel, and then you're comparing the shittest part of your day to their highlight reel.
And the problem
Yeah.
is we know that.
Constantly.
We know that though.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
single time you know that. I know that because my Instagram looks amazing. And everyone's like, oh, you're always doing really well. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. The stuff that I'm showing you is all the
Yeah.
stuff I'm doing really
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
But like this last week, I've been lying in bed all the time, which we'll get onto the reason why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I guess like with
And it's
like,
just
yeah, with the brand, people like message me like being like, oh, like me and John Lewis, like on Monday, like, oh, it's amazing. But this week's been so stressful, like trying logistically to get all the products in, get everything like debag tagged properly, photos, models, photo shoot. Like you don't realize for that one post that looks incredible was like 2 days worth of work.
Yeah.
Like if I had hair, there wouldn't be much left. Like it's literally, no, people don't understand that, you know, to get to that level or like to make things look a certain way, there's a lot of stuff that goes in the back end. I think we've spoken about it before, like that self-employment or like trying to build a business, like grind of like, if you're doing something every day for like 5 years, people see like a result, they're like, oh my God, it's amazing, but you've got to put that time in.
Yeah.
For that one little thing.
Yeah.
That one little win has got so many little losses or failures or whatever.
And people could compare that and say, what, I could start a business, and then they start a business, and if it's not kicking off after 5 minutes, they're like, well, what, like Matt did it because you were showing highlights from day one.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
this, and then the same in people's lives, isn't it? That's how it translates
Yeah.
over. You look at it and we see people's pages and, like I said, highlight reel, and we compare constantly. The dregs of the business days that we do, we're comparing with brands that are doing really, really well.
But don't they say it's like, is it the first 3 years of a new business is where it like makes or breaks?
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically, if you cross over that 3-year line.
Yeah, I think your odds of success are quite a bit higher.
3 years.
Yeah.
Is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you start from scratch up to building whatever you're building.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
That can't happen overnight.
No.
It's got to be organic.
And I guess
Organic
with,
growth.
yeah, for sure. And like with like social media, it's like, I know people will probably be watching this as a reel on social media, and watching it on
Irony.
YouTube, one of the biggest social media channels, and listening to it on Spotify and whatever. But it's like those, social media is such a, like, it's got like a double-edged sword, really. It's great for building business and building brands and building that way, but at the same time, it's like so detrimental on mental health. And it's a great tool to build communities on. But we're going to be doing a run for the boys on the 10th of December. For me, that's more real than what it is like with like actually meeting listeners and stuff,
100%.
like meeting people. That's what I love about the brand. Also, I love doing pop-ups because you actually meet people and cut away all that bullshit of the social media. It's like, I'm here, you're physically here. Yeah, so it definitely has like...
And it gives the customers a sense of community as well.
Yeah.
Where they can interact with the brand. as
Yeah.
well, which is crucial.
That's it. And like social media can just be so bad for your mental health. And yeah.
And what we're looking to do is potentially create a platform that would have been really beneficial to you pre-breakdown, so that you've got somewhere to, all right, at the moment we're looking at once a month to do these meetups, but
Yeah.
it's still once a month where you're physically meeting people. Because, okay, you might have got 20 messages from people on Instagram saying it's okay, like I go through the same thing, but still there might not be people that you've ever met, and so there's still a disconnect, isn't there? Whereas if you've got an opportunity to actually meet people and be like, oh fuck, that's that Dan guy that I actually met him, I've actually had a conversation with him, I think there's a different thing that happens psychologically. And so,
And it's that crucial thing of being in the same space as people, isn't it?
yeah, and I think that's really what we're trying to create, is that place to potentially lower the probability of what happened to you happening to other guys. Because I think it is probably on a lot of people's radars just from like you said, work stress, general life stress, relationship stress, bill stress, like all of that. Everyone has to deal with that, but it doesn't make it good, does it? Like
Yeah.
we still have to deal with it. And if you've got a community where you can just go and shoot the shit with people, then I think it will help people massively.
I don't know why that's just suddenly reminded me. I think it's when you said about the work thing. Like, there's a guy who I work with who's incredible, but he's an older guy. He's very much a bloke, you know, supports his football club, goes to the pub, you know, very like a man's man kind of a thing. And quite an emotional guy, and he struggles a lot with a lot of stuff. He has a lot going on in his life. You know, he's got like mortgage, 3 kids, you know, all of this kind of stuff, fully grown up. And I keep on telling him, like, you know, he has like little moments at work where he, like, you know, gets a bit emotional. You can tell he's trying to open up, and he is good at it. But I'm like, sometimes I'm like, dude, like, you need to see someone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Actually speak about it.
Actually speak about it.
Yeah.
Because he's really good at being open, considering he's like, you know, this like, you know, blokey bloke, like I said. And I'm like, and it's really good that at work we're good at talking about this kind of stuff. But sometimes I'm like, dude, like, yeah, go and speak to someone.
Yeah, there has
It's
to be an
almost
extra step.
It's almost like he's too proud or unsure about how it will work, but I think it will benefit him so much.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of both. It's the unknown, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's a big part of it. And then the other part is
'Cause he's the kind of guy that'd be like, I just need to take it on the chin, just need to like
literally like, I'll be okay.
just
I'll be right.
Yeah, I'll
It's
be
fine.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got to get through this moment till the next moment, till the next moment. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it's bouncing from moment to moment. Then, whether it's a generation thing or what, like, yeah, that's what, you know, like people that I meet that are a bit older. Some are very open to talking because they've gone through a lot of stuff and they've talked to somebody and they've realised, wow, like I should have done that. Like, but then you meet a lot of people and be like, oh, it's like, you know, just man up and just crack on. But it's like, but then that's why, you know, male suicide, like under 50, it's like it's the biggest killer for men because they get to a point where they're probably like, holy shit, this is it, this is too much, and then it's gone. It's like if they had spoken to that one person and offloaded some of it, would have been like great, but
some of it, like a little bit, is all you need sometimes.
It doesn't have to be the whole thing.
Yeah,
And I think I'm convinced there has to be a balance between talking and expressing, but also being able to take stuff on the chin and being able to sort of like pull yourself together. Because if you're incapable of pulling yourself together, fucking out, you're constantly relying on other people, aren't you? And that's no use either. So I think it's of course we want people to talk more and to provide a platform to start that. And some people will need to go further and have sort of one-to-one stuff. But it's blending that in with the ability to be like, actually, you know what? Today's a bit of a shit day, but I need to get the fuck on with it because no one else is going to do it for me. And I think it's such a thin line to tread. It's a really, really hard like balance to find. And people, I think probably what is happening is people are leaning too far into the it'll be okay, I'll just crack on, and not enough into the other side. But I do think there is a risk of overspill into the too much one way in terms of like, oh, today's not a good day, everyone feels sorry for me. We have to find a balance somewhere. But yeah, talking is a super good start.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so your job is still doing the grounds,
greenkeeping.
Greenkeeping. So you're saying like you're alone a lot of the time. So yeah, going into more like detail of like how you're saying about your thoughts. Like I work on my own, so I can understand. Like I can sometimes be in the garage on my own for like 9 hours, and by the end of the day, I'm like, I just want to rip my own head off.
It's the same. So like, say over the summer, for instance. So I work on a golf course, work on grounds maintenance, greenkeeping. So a day for me, I could turn up 6 in the morning. So bearing in mind, 6 in the morning, you're a bit tired.
Yeah.
And you're a bit like, okay, right. And then you get given your job and it's to be on a machine all day. So you're like, right, okay, just got to cut grass. That's all I got to do all day long. So you throw your headphones on. Thankfully, the place I work at, you can put your headphones on. Other places I've worked at, nope. So you are literally alone with your thoughts.
Yeah.
So throw my headphones on, whether it be music, podcasts, audiobooks, whatever. And then you just go out there. And if you're having a bad day, you just go out there and you just like bang your position on the cab. And you just up and down, just cutting grass. And you're just like, and you're looking at the watch. 10 minutes have passed and it feels like a lifetime.
Yeah.
And you're just like, Jesus Like, oh. And then you start getting into your thoughts, and your thoughts start building, and you're just like, why am I getting so upset about something that's not even that bad? Blah, blah, blah. And then it gets to that point where you're just like, and then it might rain. Yeah. And then the rain is like the cherry on top, and you're just like,
yeah. That's what I like when I was like, let's go for like coffee, lunch, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was my way of like being able to just go out, even if I was on my own in a coffee shop, it was a way of like de-stressing in that sense without me actually realizing.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I liked the thought of like, well, going to meet you, and then we'll like started talking about stuff, and then we now here doing the podcast because we're talking about stuff that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
Like guys, and so yeah, we're just like, okay, I actually quite liked going out and doing things, but I guess with your role, you've got to really try and find that like inner strength to be like,
you're just there.
Yeah, you're there. You can't go out and do that.
Yeah, and you're not like you said, like for you said you're on your own, but you're doing like your kind of work.
Yeah, I'm focusing on me.
Autopilot.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah,
and it's just like sometimes I don't even have to think.
You're almost in your own stewing pot, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And it's all right for a while. So it's probably what most people could do with an hour a week to their own thoughts. But like 8 hours a day is quite excessive.
Yeah.
So
but some days it's great. The sun's shining, and you're having get the really funny podcast on. You're having a great time. Like,
yeah.
Just like driving up and down, cutting grass in the sun. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Other times it's like nope.
But like
having a good time.
Yeah, but like you just said, like having an hour to yourself, I think is great, because I've been acknowledging your thoughts and your feelings. But having like somewhere to go and be with other people and things also is really good. So obviously, like you and Beck go and do a lot of walking and go like out and about. Is that a release? Even though you're still outside and you're outside all day, is it a different mentality of like a switch of like I'm outside in nature, but it's somewhere completely different, and I'm focusing on my own self?
Yeah, 100%. Like, and for Beck, so Beck's my partner. She's massively into the outdoors. She loves going hiking. She organises little groups and stuff to go out from both, mental health perspective and just getting like-minded individuals out together. And what she does is absolutely fantastic. Like, the stuff she's done is incredible. And getting outside, getting out in the fresh, even if it's with yourself, your own thoughts, or with someone else or a group of people, and you can just, because it's like this, like conversation just naturally occurs, and then you can just start talking about whatever, and almost like the hiking becomes the secondary focus.
You just met up at a place, and that's just where
it's no different than going to the pub or going to a coffee shop or going shopping or whatever. It's just in a different environment, bit of fresh air, bit of physical activity as well, which is, physical activity. I'm sure we both know. Well, we all know there's another crucial thing for men. Well, I think it is, at least. Other people might not agree, but I think it's massively crucial for mental health as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we both agree, because I'm okay at my fitness, but obviously you're a PT, so
I think you change a lot of the time. You change your mental with your physical. I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. They wait for their mental to change before they start doing the physical part. And if you just start doing something physical, like anyone listening to this, get up and do 10 star jumps. You will feel better. Particularly if you're in an awkward place, like if you're in public or something, it will be funny as fuck. Like, no one's going to do it, but let's say you did do it right now, people will be looking at you like, what are you doing? People would be laughing at you. It would be funny, and you sit down feeling better, and there you go. You changed your mental state, haven't you? Like, by doing something physical. So
that's all it takes, is something that takes 30 seconds.
If
all
that,
you need.
And if you do some star jumps, then film it and send it to us on Instagram, because that would be hilarious. Like, if we could put some people that listen to it actually like in the middle of wherever you are doing star jumps.
And no one's sending a video.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's 0 people have done it.
Hashtag star jumps for the boys.
Yes, yes, absolutely. If any of my mates listening, you best send me a video. But that's it. Like that mental and physical is so important. And obviously, like being like a skier and doing seasons, you got to be pretty physically fit. So how was like the physical side? I know we spoke a little bit about it earlier, but like your physical side, how's that help mentally for you?
Oh, massively.
On your journey.
Yeah. So like, I've always been a physical, active person anyway. With it, but more so just going out there and doing stuff. So I was never really bothered about the gym. Like, I just ride bikes, climb walls. Go climbing, skiing, blah, blah, blah. It just comes naturally almost, and you just build up your physical fitness that way. But a few years before lockdown, I started getting into like gym stuff. I've got like, luckily I've managed to buy like a little squat rack for my front room and everything, and it's absolutely great. And during lockdown and during the time where my mental health was in the pits, I tell you what, that got me through, like doing like workouts and stuff. But it's because I know it works for me. So I know like with that adrenaline rush you get and that pump that you get, and it just for you, and because you have to be disciplined to do it. And obviously I was like following programs and progressive overload and all this kind of stuff, and you really have to think about it and you have to be on it. And I think those two together, like the physical and the mental, it's just so good. I absolutely love it. But unfortunately at the moment, we'll get onto this soon actually, we should probably start talking about it. At the moment, that's all gone out the pan. Yeah. But there is a reason for it. I miss it.
Yeah.
I do miss it. Yeah. But I know it's only temporary.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'll get back into it soon. But at least my mental health hasn't taken a battering, considering.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, because you're not being as physical in that sense, do you think it has? But obviously, you're saying it hasn't as much. Do you obviously, like, for you said the antidepressants are helping, so there'll be some people that like either say they don't work or do work, but for you obviously it is working, which is great.
Massively worked for me.
Yeah.
Hugely. Yeah, like I couldn't recommend them enough, but I think everyone does react differently to them. So
yeah, but that's great that you found something that is helping.
Yeah.
And whether it either becomes like a placebo effect because you're still taking them how many years on or what, but it doesn't matter, it's still working.
Yeah, exactly.
And if your mental health is better from that perspective,
that's why I don't want to touch it. That's why that's why I don't want to like. I'm on them.
Yeah.
I'm taking them. It's working. I'm like, let's keep it like that.
Don't change the process. If it's working for sure.
Change what?
Do you want to slide into what's going on at the moment and like maybe if you could build it up for us a little bit, just in terms of how you got to finding out what's going on? And
sure. And as well, all questions are all good as well.
Okay, cool.
Some people are funny about asking. So I'll just start by dropping the headline is that I got diagnosed with a really aggressive stage 4 cancer back in end of September. Well, the dates are all a blur now.
Yeah.
It has been pretty life-changing, as you can imagine. So I'm currently still going through that process. So going back to how I initially found out. So back in May, I simply got a stomachache. No drama, right? Little stomachache, you're like, is what it is. It'll pass in a few days. After a few days, it didn't really pass, and I was like, should I go to the doctors? Nah, don't need to go to the doctors. It'll pass. Then I called up 111 just to have a little chat with them, and they were like, oh, it's probably just like stomach acid or something. I was like, thought it would be. Take some Gaviscon. I was like, classic. Sweet. But I went down, took some Gaviscon, blah, 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 blah. Still nothing. And I was getting like a weird like pain in the chest as well. So then I called 111 again. And I think because I dropped the chest thing, I sent out an ambulance. And I was like, it's because of the chest thing, isn't it? So I think initially they think, it could be like a heart problem or whatever. Yeah. So they sent out the ambulance. I was like, guys, like, I think it's just a stomach ache. Like,
I don't want the drama, please.
I'm so sorry. I know you guys are super busy doing actual work. Blah. And they checked my bloods and everything, and they were like, nothing. We can't find anything that's wrong with you. I was like, I'm so sorry. So anyway, so I went to the GP. GP once again was at that lower level of like going through the steps, which is understandable because like, if you look at me now and how I'm talking and everything, you'd never know that I've like had my 3rd cycle of chemotherapy last week. You know what I mean? I'm still
seemingly got energy and like you're sat up fine and stuff. So
and I did the same when I went to the GP, and I was like, so I just got a stomachache, mate. Like, and he was like, okay, have you tried like Gaviscon? Yeah, blah 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 blah. So then he gave me these tablets called omeprazole, which is a stomach acid suppressant. He's like, I want to see you back in a month. 3 weeks later, I was like, these ain't working. So he doubled up my dose. He was like, come back in a month. I was like, 3 weeks later again. I was like, these ain't working. I managed to get another GP appointment with another doctor just because of the availability. And she was like, okay, interesting. Could be a stomach ulcer then potentially, but what we'll do, obviously we've been working at the bottom end of everything, but we'll just go to the top and just get rid of the big stuff like the cancers and all this. I was like, that's fine, So I got booked into a endoscopy, which is disgusting, horrible. It is a camera, goes down your throat, into your stomach, and it's
Jeez.
it's grim because it's so funny because like you're lying on this little medical table on the side, and someone's like jabbing this camera down your throat, and you've got this lovely nurse that's like, just concentrate on your breathing, just concentrate on your breathing, and you're there like,
Yeah, he choked.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I actually feel like it's made me start hearing. I had an endoscopy last year, and it was minging.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And they like
minging.
inflate the air and everything.
Yeah,
Like, you feel like
and
your
I was
stomach
like
goes,
heaving,
yeah.
and they were like, "Stop doing that," and I was like, "I'm not doing that. Like, it's coming from,
you get that
it's from here."
When you get that little
like,
tickle in the back
oh,
of the throat.
horrible.
It's so bad. Yeah. So so my mum had taken me, and she was just in the waiting room, and I was just in there doing my thing, and they were like, so the doctor's gonna take 10 minutes to just write up the report. You just want to wait in the waiting area. And then one of the nurses comes over, and she's like, "Oh, is that your mum waiting in the waiting area?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh, doctor's ready to see you now. Do you want her to come through?" I was like, "No, it's all right. No, just wait there." And, and the nurse was like, "No. Do you want your mum to come through?"
Oh,
and I was like,
Shit.
"Okay." I was like, "So this is something then."
Did your stomach drop like when she said that? Were you like,
No, like I think through this whole process, I've been really weirdly calm about it. In fact, Beck and my mum, at the start of it, I think were getting a bit pissed off at me at how calm I was dealing with everything. And yeah, it's really strange. So like, maybe it's because I didn't quite believe it, or maybe it's just like, yeah. So anyway, so they took me in, and they said they found like in my esophagus, the cancer's esophageal, which is one of the bad ones. Of all the cancers to have, it's also one of the bad ones, which is great. Spread into my stomach and into my liver. But what they found in the esophagus was, at the time, I think they called it like an unknown growth. So they were like, so we know it's cancer, but we're not going to quite tell you it's cancer just yet because we've got the biopsies and all this kind of stuff. We don't want to.
did they take a biopsy when they did the endoscopy?
Yeah. So they took everything, and they were like, doesn't look great. We can't give you any more real information about what it is, et cetera, because we need to double check and make sure that everything is what we think it is, but it is looking like it's cancer. And I was like, cool. Like, there's nothing you can do about it at that point.
Yeah.
So then, like, I had another proper appointment, like, a couple of weeks later.
What was your mum like?
Oh, yeah, not great
Not
at
good,
all. Nah,
yeah.
because family history, cancers and stuff as well. And the fact that it's obviously a pretty big bit of news to have.
Yeah.
So then 2 weeks later, I went back to hospital, got the full diagnosis. My mum and my girlfriend were there, and my girlfriend as well has had cancer related things in her family as well. So it's like something that's quite close to her in that kind of aspect. And when we walked into the room with the doctor, and she saw the Macmillan nurse, which for me, I was like, I don't know what that means. And she was like, I knew it was really bad at that point. Yeah. So. Oh really? Yeah. So that's like the kind of meat of the story there. And then so it's just been chemotherapy and immunotherapy and all the therapies and stuff that I'm going through at the moment. But I'm feeling pretty damn good, weirdly, at the moment, which I have no explanation for. Like, my mental health seems like it's absolutely on fire in a good way.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why. But
We said something when we were just having some lunch, like you think your physical has helped you along this journey 100%. Already. Like, you were like, you've had three sessions, and your physical before was good, and you wouldn't be able to tell at all. Like,
it's insane. Because like, what I've got as well, my profile does not fit the kind of person that would have this kind of cancer as well. It's normally like older people, like 60 plus, who've probably smoked and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm none of that. So like, even the nurses have said, like, because I've got like youth and fitness on my side, hopefully, fingers crossed that everything will be,
What's the official, have they given you like an official name for it? Because I know people can get, like, they have like, if they don't get diagnosed with cancer, they have like an official term or whatever. What's the?
So mine would be stage 4 esophageal cancer.
Okay.
So stage 4 means it's like the worst stage.
Yeah.
Because it's spread. So rather than just being in the esophagus, it's slightly spread to my stomach.
Have they got a potential of how long that might have been in there?
No idea. No.
That's the wild part, isn't it?
Yeah,
In my
that's-
mind, anyway. That's the bit where
Yeah,
I'm like, has that been in there for 5 years?
Well, so I've got a scan coming up on the 5th of December. So that's like my halfway point of chemo. So that's the first scan
Okay.
since diagnosis. And hopefully at that point I'll get a face-to-face with the doctor and we can have a proper chat about everything. Because I haven't asked about like life expectancy or anything.
Yeah,
like that
Yeah.
yet. Which I was initially going to at the start, but I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of ready to ask the question now, whatever it may be. But yeah, who was I can't even remember who I was speaking to, but they said it could have been in there for 5 years, just laying dormant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's just suddenly come out of nowhere, seemingly.
Yeah. And then,
Like that-
and the symptoms are so like mild as well, to
like
put
that
it.
stomach
like
ache I had in
stomachache.
May. To be fair, I think like considering when we noticed it was a thing, to now being in the process of getting healed, I don't think we could have moved any quicker, kind of a thing. But yeah, they don't know. I don't think they'll ever know. I think it's just one of those.
Yeah, that's one of those mad things of like, something triggered you to actually go to the doctors. And I was thinking about this the other day because like, so last year or maybe a year before, just after COVID, I had a CT scan of my throat because I had a little lump at the side. And I was like, what is it? I've only just noticed it. Like, I've got thick neck hair, so I'm shaving like every other day. And I was like, oh, hold on a minute, what's this? Turns out it was just an ingrown hair. It's turned into a bit of a hard skin, but at least I actually actively went. But it was because, but it was there that it was noticeably, like, imagine if it was something worse that I then had only just noticed it, like how long could it have been there for? So
I've got a mate who had throat cancer,
Yeah.
and he's the same age. He's 28, just turned 29, I think. And that he only got that diagnosed because he was helping someone do some work in a library, and they were sat down, and he was stood up, and he leant over, and the light was obviously just right, and they were like, you've got a lump there, and he was like, oh, that's weird. And then ended up had to go for chemo, had it like surgically removed, just purely because like he'd never even noticed it, just because someone was like, that looks a bit odd. So it's crazy to me like how quiet it is.
Yeah.
Really.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's like you don't even want to bother the doctors.
Yeah.
Because of how insignificant it was. My girlfriend Beck really pushed me to go to the
Yeah.
doctor.
Yeah.
She was like, you've had this stomach ache for ages.
Mm.
Clearly it's not good. And it was affecting I lost loads of weight. My energy was diving and everything like that.
Yeah.
She's like, go and see the doctors. And I was like, all right.
yeah.
So, yeah, thanks, Beck.
What do you think is contributing to your mental health seemingly being like good now?
I wish I knew. Like, I've genuinely joked that the antidepressants that I'm on are clearly doing something.
Yeah.
But I also think that maybe my home life and everything is just calmer at the moment as well,
Yeah.
which I think has helped. But I think it's one of those weird ones where you never know how you're going to react to something
Until
it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only kind of explanation I have for it at the moment.
Yeah.
Because the first couple of weeks after I got diagnosed, I thought I was dealing with it really well. And looking back, I still think I was dealing with it really well. But I also realised that I definitely had like a bit of a kind of blankness across my face and a bit of zoning out. Like, I had 2 weeks where I didn't really watch any TV, didn't play any video games, didn't really listen to much music.
Your subconscious is probably trying to figure out what the fuck is going
I think I
on.
was
Yeah.
just lying on the sofa just being
Yeah.
like, what? Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that state of shock
What?
almost, but just trying to process.
Yeah, 'cause
but
yeah.
not by actually sitting down and talking to somebody about processing,
Yeah.
just in your own head being like, okay, I need just to be blank face and
but
just
weirdly, I
let
didn't
it.
feel like I was in a bad mental state.
Yeah.
I think it was almost like my body just completely just took over and just,
Yeah.
I don't think I was even present for half of it. My body was just doing whatever it was doing, just thinking every single angle. And
Yeah.
it's,
So obviously like your mum and Beck were there at the hospital and stuff, and like, so from that, like, how do you even go about telling people around it? Like that, for me, like when I found out, it was like, how would I even react if somebody came to me like else? Like, I never thought about it, like being the age and stuff. You just never think.
did you find out for the Instagram thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I was in that kind of, there's a lot of people to tell.
Yeah.
I don't have the mental capacity to tell all these people. Because obviously everyone was sending messages. Like, so essentially what happened is I told like my closest, and then my kind of friend groups, like in group chats and stuff. And then there was people like Matt and other people that I was like, I kind of want to tell them face to face or through a message. But it's an odd one, right? Because you want to be like, you're right, Matt. Just so you know, mate.
yeah.
I don't know how your day is going. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a really, really good day. I've got some shit news to tell you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and he was like one of my other mates. Like he was asking how I was, and I was kind of like, not so great. And it was like his birthday weekend. And I was like, I wanted to tell him, and I was like, but it's your birthday weekend. I ain't gonna.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's like little things like that.
That's so mentally draining.
Yeah.
You have to try and figure out
How to tell people.
everyone's different scenarios and.
But you don't need. But that's something that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I tell people that, they're like, mate, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
just tell me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which deep down I knew was going to be the case anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I just matter what I was doing. Like, that's some big news. Like, just tell us. Like, yeah, but I don't want to ruin anyone's day. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like in that way, you're like, oh, you want to tell people, but yeah, you're like, well, that's big news, and you almost feel bad that you're telling somebody that because you don't want them to be sucked in.
and there's a lot of people, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, then I got to tell them, and then I got to tell them. So it's what I ended up doing is I just, like everyone else does, I put out an Instagram statement
Yeah.
on my stories. Yeah, and I essentially said like, hey guys, like I got some news. Here's the news, and then
Yeah.
whoever wanted to reply replied. Whoever didn't reply for whatever reason, it's fine. Didn't reply, and
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? So it's like, but like I said, the amount of people that replied and the amount of people that gave me support was unreal. So good. And I think just knowing that people are out there that do care about you, I think makes a huge difference mentally as well.
Yeah.
Like I had people that were like, so sorry I haven't messaged you sooner. I just didn't know what to say. I just hope you're doing well. And it's like, you don't need to say anything. Just the fact that you've said, I'm here for you. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get the others who do write out huge statements and information or, similar stories that they've had. And it's great to read them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
both ends of the scale. It's just like, I appreciate every single message that I've got, every single story. But then sometimes like, there's too many messages sometimes. I'm like, I just can't reply.
Yeah, I was going to say,
So it's such a mental like overload.
Yeah.
But at the same time though, it's for a good reason. So it's like,
yeah, did you think that if you told people you'd become, like if you went through all the groups and telling like, so like me, Toby, Henshaw and whatever, and Rob and everyone else, it was like, do you think all of that, you'd be like, oh, I don't want to feel overwhelmed with all the messages I'm then going to get back in by spending a whole day by messaging or speaking to people?
Yeah.
Do you think that was almost like on your brain, like, oh, I don't want to tell everybody because, I'm going to be so overwhelmed with it?
yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, it's that
Yeah.
it's that balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like for me, it's such big news.
Yeah.
For other people, it might not be, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's just like you almost, but by doing it directly, I feel like I was forcing a problem onto people. Not
Okay.
forcing a problem, but like
Interesting, yeah.
taking this big heavy weight and being like, here you go.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? Do you know what I mean? And then like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's like, and
Did
that's
you
what I
feel
thought-
a sense of relief when you posted it?
massively, huge, yeah. Because I was like, and it came from going back to when I had the mental breakdown thing when I threw it out there, and I was like, right, it's out there in the world. I'm gonna get some replies. I'm gonna feel better from talking to people. And I was like, well, it's worked once before. I'll do it again. And it's one of those. I think I even put on the statement, a problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And I was like, if I get it out there, people know what situation I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can deal with me however they want,
Yeah.
and we can go from there.
Yeah. You almost put the ball in their court, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure,
Rather
yeah.
than feeling like you're having to go
Yeah.
out and
So I can be like, here's my situation, just to let you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
You
And it's interesting you
just
said
to
that,
let
like,
you know.
like problem shared is problem halved. Back to your like colleague that's a bit older and stuff. It's like, imagine if you just shared a little bit of what he's going through,
Yeah.
but then half of that problem is going to
Yeah.
go away for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can understand from your point of view, like trying to tell somebody that, being like, oh, like it's a lot to deal with, but then afterwards you're like, right, do this out, throw this out on Instagram, and you're like, oh, you can almost like take a breath of fresh air, I guess. But yeah, well, I mean, when me, Toby, and Henshaw found out, we're just like, then I saw them in Manchester, we're just like, wow, like, and we all did get like really emotional. And I remember finding out, I literally like within like 5 minutes, I was like voice noting you, being like, I'm sorry I haven't spoken to you like in the last few weeks or whatever. You know, life just can just take control sometimes, and like I feel like I've not really spoken to you in the last few weeks. We did the podcast together. we spoke on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, sorry, I've been like vacant. We're like, well, we've both been doing other things, but we still have been moving forward. So it's like, yeah, sometimes even the closest of people, like you don't always catch up with every single moment, every single day.
Well, I went out for food with some mates last night. We had a big catch up, and one of my mates who I haven't seen since, and he was like, I'm so sorry I haven't been around. I'm like, mate, like you've got your own stuff going on, like you're planning a wedding. His granddad's got some health issues, you know. And I'm like, dude, it's not about me. Like, I understand that life still goes on. Do you know what I mean? I was like, you don't have to apologise for anything. Like,
but it's nice that you like people that
but
did.
The fact that he's just aware that it's happening, and he's like, that's all I need.
Having that somebody, like knowing that you've got this group of people now that you can just call upon whenever you need. Like I said, like obviously being self-employed, you kind of do what you want when you want, I guess. That's how it works, isn't it? We're just winging it for a little bit, for a few years. So it's like, if you need anything, I'm around. Like I'm happy to work in the evening to come and help you in the daytime if you need anything. Like, so it's just knowing that you've got people there that are going to be like supportive, that you were maybe not scared to share it with, but you were just unsure how I guess people can react. Like
being too proud to ask sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's
and you don't want to put on people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's like something that I thought about afterwards. Is like me and the lads, we're 34, 35. We haven't been for a full checkup, like, or anything like that. I've had one of those, I call it an arse pumping, but it's not. What's the thing where you check up your arse and you get your stomach cleared out?
Oh, to be fair, it's far more accurate than what I was like. Surely that is not that name is way far fetched from what you're actually talking about.
I forgot the official medical.
You're talking about.
Is it colonoscopy? Yeah, so I had one of them.
Not one, is it?
That's
something else.
Yeah. And the guys were all just like, I had it a few years ago, and the guys were like, what are you doing? Like, that's crazy. Afterwards, I was like, yeah, that's what they're referring to. So I thought, yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
That's too good.
For like 6 months afterwards, I was like, wow, this is insane. Like having your stomach cleared out. And I asked the woman who was doing it, I was like, what's your clientele? Expecting it to be like, you know, people that are over like 45 or whatever. She was like, oh, like the average age is maybe like 28. And I was like,
really?
What? And she was like, oh, you know, we get a lot of people who finish uni, have been drinking, like, especially like my age now, drank for a long time after uni as well, like 10, 15 years, constantly on it, having their stomach just like completely cleared out, refreshed and stuff. And it was just so good because your gut, like microbiome is so important for like health, mental health, physical. I was like, well, I'd get this done all the time if I, you know, could fork out for it. But it's kind of like, there's not many people that our age that go to the doctors to be like, I'm just going to proactively go and get checked up.
To be fair, because I'm a bit older than you as well, and it's the same kind of, I've been having the same kind of thoughts this year, like prior to this whole cancer thing as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know what, I'm actually hitting that age where I should probably start getting all these little checkups, these little full body checkups. But it's like another one where you're like, oh, phoning up the GP and you're like, oh, I'm just at that age where I just think I need a bit of an MOT, mate. Is there anything you can book me in for?
Arse pumping a finger at the moment. One of them. So that's it.
I've had a couple of them free for this cancer treatment anyway. It's been brilliant.
Yeah. The perks. Yeah. But no, that's it. Like you don't think about proactively going, and like that had like a thing with like me and the lads were like, oh, actually, maybe we should go and like, because I don't smoke. I used to socially smoke for like 6 months, and I was like, this is not what I want to be doing. So like, social smoking and being like, I don't want to do that anymore. Just being a bit more like healthy and actually having a checkup of things. Like, but like you said, like ringing up the doctor being like, I want to get checked up. They're like, well, there's more important things that people will go into the doctors for. Yeah. However, it is still just as important because what if there's something lying within you for years and years you don't know about, and you're like, oh, I'm fit and healthy, I feel good. Your energy might be down a couple of days, you might be, I'm just tired, had a shit night's sleep. You don't think about that. But realistically, having that one checkup when you start getting to that like mid-30s age could be a good thing. And I feel like that's almost how people feel with mental health. They're like, well, I don't need to go and talk about it because it's fine, I'm just going to carry on. And the same thing with that, it's like you need to still have a checkup physically as well as mentally.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Just interestingly,
Yep.
going back to when, again,
There's loads we can talk about.
your
Yeah,
mental
loads,
health
yeah.
being better now.
Yeah.
Do you think any of that falls into the category of, so I had a big car crash like
Yeah,
5 years ago.
that was
So
good, yeah,
I tore my bowel in 3 places, broke my leg. People were like, oh, do you feel like you got to live your life now? And I had the opposite thing where I was like, no, I actually feel slightly concerned that I'm not indestructible. So it did the opposite to me. So rather than being like, oh my God, I need to travel the world, I need to go and get a job in New Zealand, I was like, holy fuck, someone might get me.
Yeah.
But do you think that your positive mindset has come from the fact that this has happened and that you're like, I need to make sure that do you think somewhere in you is proactively being more positive about things?
Yeah, possibly. Once again, I'm still trying to figure it out
Yeah,
myself.
for sure.
Yeah, I'd probably say so, actually. But at the same time, though, like, I've always been one for like living and doing stuff anyway, and I feel like maybe, and you're right with that whole indestructible thing, because I was always the same as well. Like, you always have that kind of arrogance where it's
Nothing will break me.
never gonna get me. Like,
Yeah.
And this moment is like, oh yeah. So I'm thinking about you. You think about your mortality a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, like, this chemo is going so well for me at the moment. Obviously, I don't know that from any science perspective. I just know that from how I'm feeling on the
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Like, if you'd seen me like 8 weeks ago, I was like a shell of myself kind of
Yeah.
thing. And the way I am now, I'm like, I feel like I've already beaten it. And I'm like, that's almost dangerous to think. Do you know what I mean?
But
It's
I think
so weird.
I think the positivity around it is only going to benefit
Even the
you.
nurses and stuff say stuff like that. They say, like, if you're thinking like this,
100%.
100% going to help you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's wild. And they say, just keep on thinking the same. And I think my perspective for sure has changed with life and with Beck and everything as well. Like, she's been so unbelievably supportive. I think she gives me like that kind of calming influence. Because we're both currently off work at the moment, and we're almost like planning a future
Yeah.
kind of a thing, like almost doing our own, whatever it's going to be. Like, and I feel like, because I've got like aims and I still got aims and targets, there's still stuff I want to do. And I think I've just got more of that kind of go.
Put some action into it.
yeah.
Yeah, rather
Don't-
than being on a piece of paper.
Yeah. Not thinking about it, just
Yeah.
being like going for it.
Yeah.
But like with you, when I wanted to go freelance, you were like, do it. And I was like, I don't want to, I'm scared. And then did it. And I was like, fuck, should have done that 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you almost like, told you so. How
Yeah.
good is it? And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that being like, you know what? Clutch was getting to a point where as my evenings, weekends were just constantly doing it. I was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to fucking do it. And then went for it.
And if God forbid it didn't work out, you've still got skills and experience that you can fall back on.
Yeah.
And probably walk back into a
Yeah.
graphic design job again or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same with me as well. It's like the golf industry's on its knees, pretty much. Like, I could go anywhere with a CV and be like, hire me, and they'd be like, all right, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always know that I've got at least something to fall back on, even though
Yeah.
it's not really what I want to do. There's other stuff I'd much rather be doing.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, this winter I was supposed to be going back to Japan and working out there doing the ski season, but unfortunately, more important things have come
Yeah.
around. But
Yeah, I was going to say, like, so.
Japan's always going to be there. So, there's going to be another opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
And I'm fit and healthy again, which I genuinely believe I'm going to be fit and healthy again.
yeah, that's it. Like, mindset
I
is
think that's half
everything.
the game.
Yeah. It's being able to be like so positive. Like I was saying to you, like, I've not had to borrow a single penny off Zoe to do the mortgage, and it's been a year since I've been self-employed, and that was always the thing in my mind. I was like, oh my God, what if I can't make payment or whatever? But I've been like, right, I'm going to make money to pay the mortgage for this month, and I've done it because the mindset's been like, you know what, just got to make sure I'm driven enough to work enough to do it. And I've got the mortgage covered until the end of January. So I'm in a better position because it's that mental state of like being like that. And I feel like that's how, or why we got on so well when I first met you, is because you're like, fucking go and do it. Like, you're very positive in that sense. And that almost, like, surrounding yourself with people like that is super important, because you can all feed off each other. Like, I'm sure there'll be something that you've got planned that I'll be like, oh, fucking, I want to get involved in a walk or whatever. And I'll be like, I'm going to come do it. Like, and stuff like when we're like, all right, let's do a podcast. I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it.
Yeah, like what you don't need is for people to be like, just be careful doing that. Maybe don't go and do this. Da 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 da. You need to be able to have your own thoughts about what you want to do, and have people there that are going to be like, let's go. And of course, if there is a genuine danger or a genuine risk to your health, or you're going to put yourself in a position that's going to be detrimental, of course you need people to step up and be able to say, do we actually think this is the right thing to be doing? But on the whole, you're 100% right. You need people around you that are going to be like, I'll go.
Yeah.
You want to walk up Snowdon or whatever it is, I'll do it. Let's go.
The good thing is, though, is I've figured out like my patterns, how everything's working. So like, I'd say this. So I had my third chemo session last Thursday, and I think today is the first day where I've actually felt human. I was worried a couple of days ago. I was like, I might actually have to cancel on the voice for this pod, because like that week after chemo, this third cycle has probably been the worst week post. It just puts you just feel ill, just because it's poison going through your body. So I was in bed most of the days, and you just feel like shit, and your appetite's just not there, and you just feel like
just dragging yourself through, basically.
And then, but now I'm like, oh, here we go. So now I'm on the up. So now tomorrow I'll be able to do something. I still know I fatigue proper hard. Like there'll be a point in the day where I'm like,
will this drain you?
Probably.
Yeah.
I reckon I'll get back to my car after this, and I'll sit down, and I'll be like, oh, I'm done for the day.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And when I hit that wall, I hit that wall. But I know that, so I can manage it. Which I think is important. So I can be like, okay, if you want to do this, can I just say that I don't want to traipse around Leicester all day? Or, you know, can we maybe park closer, or just silly little things like that? And it's just about managing it all.
For sure.
And that's fine. So I'm still living a perfectly normal life, pretty much. But there'll just be a point where I'm like, okay, that's enough for me. I've just got to go. Or I've just got to sit down, or just got to rest, or whatever it is.
For sure.
Because sometimes I forget that I'm going through it, if that makes sense. So I still try and push myself. And then I'm like, oh, hang on, like you do actually need to rest, because you are going through something very traumatic in your body, which is obviously why I can't do gym stuff and that kind of thing anymore, which is a shame. But even hikes, I'd love to do like a proper hike. I still don't know if I should. But
even maybe that thing of like putting your waterproofs on, whacking some boots on, and just going and doing 20 minutes.
So all you can do is turn around.
Yeah, exactly. And just be like, you know what, this is good, but I've been out in a space that I wanted to be out in. I've like given it the intention that I'm going to. I kind of feel like I've been out for a hike, and that is almost worth. That's worth the effort, isn't it? So then turn around, and then next week you can be like, right, I reckon we did half an hour last week. We can probably do the same, and if I can get
45 minutes
exactly, then a little bit more, and you just push it out that way. But it's getting into your mind, like, that preparation of, because almost for me, I'm like such a, I was going to say gearhead, and that's not. I don't. There's too many drug connotations there.
Especially for the gym, mate.
I love kit. So for me, like putting my boots on, putting my waterproofs on,
I'm the same.
putting a coat, I'm like, right, this is, for me, it's almost like ritualistic. That's the good bit. And then the walking's kind of like just a bit there. Like you have to do the walk, otherwise you look like a dickhead.
What am I gonna wear for my I'm gonna put my good boots on for this one.
And that for me would be like, I would get probably 70% of what I would out of a big walk just from like kitting up and doing like a little bit, especially in the position you're in at the moment. And I think mentally,
That's a good point.
that would be quite a big boost.
Yeah.
And you come back and be like, right, that was good. I got to put my kit on.
Fair
I got outside and moved.
That's
You know what I mean?
That's a good outlook. Yeah.
It's the same with like snowboarding, really. Like we're talking about like a brand we won't mention because we get done. But like it's a very like beginners punters brand now. But when it first launched, we're like, oh, that's quite interesting. But now you go and you're like, no chance.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take a sniff because we've both like worked in the mountains and like been snowboarding and stuff for such a young or skiing for such a young age. But it's like that. Like if you've got some good gear, you feel more comfortable and confident, like investing in better snowboards and ski boots and all that kind of stuff. It's like, if you're having that, then you're going to go out and be like, oh, I feel sick. I look
good
sick.
and you feel good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. With your new boots the other day, your Merrill, which ones did you go for? The Merrill or the other ones?
I went for the Hokers.
Oh, I thought you were going to go for the Merrills. They look pretty sick.
They did look sick, but I mean, I feel like you have to be over 45 to buy anything that Merrill make. The Hokers are so clunky, but they're waterproof. And I was just like, there's waterproof trainers.
Yeah.
Fucking
Matt was asking
dad
about
life.
these because these are my hiking boots at the moment. Vans, like you wouldn't think they'd be like amazing. They're so comfortable.
But that's half the game, isn't it?
Gore-Tex and all that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what those Hoka trainers are.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the dream for me at the minute.
Yeah, sick. But in terms, so like going back to like you said about plans.
Yes.
Anything you can share in terms of plans, or is there just a little hint of like if you got anything? Because obviously, so you were meant to go to Japan. Was it last week?
Yeah.
Week before, yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty much on the day that I had my third chemo cycle. That was the day that I could pretty much day either side maybe plan to go out.
Would that have been your first time?
To Japan? No, that would be my second season. So I did Japan last winter.
What does the ski season in Japan look like compared to a European ski season?
Incredible.
Is it?
In every
Mate,
single one.
don't.
Yeah. Like, so a lot of people who aren't in the snow sports industry don't realise how much of a mecca Japan is. Japan has like a really unique kind of snow consistency. Yeah,
something to do with the salt, isn't it? The level of salt that's in it creates bigger flakes.
Yeah,
I
it's like the location of the island and the
Yeah.
kind of, not the Gulf Stream, whatever it is over there.
Yeah.
And it just creates this just beautifully light, fluffy powder snow, and it's just really good to ride in. But I worked for a really, really amazing company out there who were going to take me back, and they still will take me back if I can ever go back out there.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, we talk about like long-term plans, but even short-term plans are kind of difficult at the moment as well.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, every chemo session I have, I've got to then essentially book out that first week afterwards and be like, I'm not doing anything, even though there's stuff that I might want to do. And then after, I've got 6 chemo cycles, and then I think I carry on from immunotherapy after there, which I believe is going to be like every 4 weeks. I still don't know because that's still all up in the air until after the chemo finishes, but that can last up to 2 years.
Wow.
So I don't know if I can go anywhere long term.
Yeah.
If I then have to come back to the UK every 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's.
So I don't. So the plan we had was we were going to do Japan. Beck's got an Aussie citizenship. So then we were potentially then going to go to Oz and then maybe back to Japan.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth, maybe. And then in between the shoulder seasons, between ski seasons, I don't know, Bali or
Philippines. Yeah, man. Come visit us if we ever move there.
You know what I mean? Well, yeah, exactly. Like, you know, there's so many opportunity. But it was like, rather than like a solid plan, it was like, this is the kind of direction.
Okay, yeah.
Into. So like we do like the snow sports stuff, and then the summers diving, maybe get a diving qualification.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Sick.
But at the moment, it's,
Just see what happens.
just
Week
gotta
by
see
week.
what happens, yeah.
I remember seeing like, so your last ski season, what happened with the tree?
Oh yeah, tree got in my way. Broke my leg. Yeah.
Badly.
Who put that there?
Yeah. So me we went to Kitzbühel.
Yeah.
You know when we were going through those trees,
Oh, and you almost got.
I smashed into that
almost
tree,
got- yeah.
and then like an hour later,
stabbed,
I was like, oh, my leg hurts a little bit. Went to the toilet, pulled down like my trousers, and Toby was there like, whoa.
Was it like on the?
It was on the side of my leg. It was like half an inch gash and just like blood all the way down. I was like, oh, well, that was worse than I thought. And then like the next day, spent like a few hours in the wellness pool in the morning, and then came to meet you guys. Perfect. It was like nothing ever happened. I was like, the beauty of just an hour in the sauna.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So if we really want to like discuss my 2023,
Yeah.
that'd be great. Yeah. So the end of February, I was having way too much fun in the Japanese backcountry. Ended up breaking my leg. Spent 3 weeks. 3 weeks in hospital, 2 surgeries, getting my leg fixed.
In a Japanese hospital.
Yeah.
Was it sick? Was it?
The physio guy was incredible.
I feel like it's worth going and ruining yourself just to experience
I've
it.
genuinely recently just had a scan on it because when I came back, I got put on the waiting list. So this is back. Well, so I came back to the UK in April. Then obviously I had a stomach ache in May. So that was 23. But anyway, so I came back in April, went straight to the GP, and I was like on crutches still. I was like, can we get this looked at? And I only had my appointment like about a month ago.
Jesus.
But they were like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Really?
Because at the time, I didn't know when they were going to see me. So I just wanted to, and to be fair, with the appointment, I was like, we'll just go and get an x-ray, just make sure everything's fine. Because it's still like a bit of a shin issue that I've got here, which I don't know where the plates are sitting. I don't know if it's anything to do with that or if it's just shin bruising. Either way. But anyway, so like the doctor was like, your flexibility is amazing. The work they've done is amazing. Like, I'll be really, really happy with that. And I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Japanese, they were like,
Yeah, they're just quality
honestly,
at everything, aren't they?
so good.
That's why there's one place that
So
I said so I'd love to go, and that is Japan, because I mean it's the home of streetwear. It's like the OGs of streetwear. Like their fashion is incredible, and that's where some of the biggest brands
That's why
got
I
their
started
inspo
wearing
from.
cords, because they love them. They love it over in Japan.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And obviously
big-
it's a new fashion anyway, but mate,
Yeah,
on it.
they're just OGs at everything,
Yeah.
and
they
I
can
keep
pull it off, can't they?
yeah, I keep saying so. It's only like a 4-hour flight from the Philippines. Like, yeah, if we move there, it's not too far.
Yeah, do it.
I can go snowboarding at some of the
Yeah.
best places in the world. But yeah, didn't you get some new ski boots in the summer? I saw you trying something on, or did I just make that
This
up?
summer?
Yeah. Well, I saw you were getting like you were putting your foot in a ski boot of some kind, or have I just completely made that up?
I'm trying to remember. It might have been me just trying. There's a new BOA system.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
So I think it was that because I was like,
Because I was
really
like,
intrigued.
right, so he's broke his leg, and then he's now trying some new ski boots on.
Oh yeah, no, it was because I went down to Brigham's in London. And I was still on my crutches, I think, and the guy, I just wanted to try on this BOA boot on my one good foot, and this guy was like, "What? It's not a great idea with you." I was like, "Mate, I'm not here to buy boots. I know what's going on. Like, I'm not like just get a boot out for me. I just want to try it on."
Yeah, I thought, wow, if like literally nothing phases you. It's like what 3 months later, you're breaking your leg. Right, get a new pair of
Well,
boots.
so
ready.
my old boots were broke,
Yeah,
but I've managed to find a replacement part for them.
that's how hard he hit the tree.
Fixed
Broke a ski boot.
through the carbon part as well.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Did you snap your leg?
I'll show you the video afterwards.
Yeah, nice.
I remember seeing.
No, it wasn't snapped, but it was broke, like pretty much. Yeah.
I remember seeing the scan and like what,
Yeah, I've got the scans and stuff.
Sweet, yeah.
So yeah.
like 16 pins or something.
2 plates, 16 pins.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
It's a pretty big break, yeah. But at the time though, because the adrenaline pumps so hard, as soon as I hit the tree, because I knew how hard I hit the tree, my first thing was to turn around and tell my mates I was okay, because everyone because it was like a full on.
Yeah.
I was like, guys, I'm all right.
Oh my god, my leg.
Yeah. Actually, can you come down?
Yeah, then I stood up and then I did that with my leg, and I was like, oh no.
Oh,
Bad
crazy.
day.
This is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the best thing is we had to drag myself off as well because
I was about to say, what was the access like?
it's out of bounds.
Literally.
It's all out of bounds.
No chopper or anything?
No. Sort your shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is.
So you're on your own here, boys.
Yeah. That is mad.
Yeah.
But no, it's crazy like that journey of this year.
Yeah, it's been a year.
Yeah.
And somehow, going back to the whole original point, like my mental health, I don't know how it's still at the level it is. I'm thankful.
Yeah.
Because this journey is tough. Like I can't begin to say how tough it's been.
I find it really weird, like through the adversity, you've actually got on better
find it weird.
than potentially
I don't know if it's
not non-adversity, but like
I don't know if it's some sort of perspective thing or something.
I think this is what I was trying to get out earlier with like
it's so strict because I'm like kind of baffled by it. And going back to the original point where, like I said, like my mum and Beck were like, "Dan, you need to take this more seriously." Like they were a bit annoyed how relaxed I was about it, but maybe it's because it's happening to me. So if there is, God forbid, like any loss at the end of it, like I'm not the one that's dealing with it.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty dark. Yeah, there's plenty. Of,
and also, you know that there's only so much you can do. Whereas sometimes when
I'm doing everything.
Yeah, and sometimes when it's someone else, you feel a little bit at a loss. Like they're going to feel like they should be or could be doing more, and they will be putting that pressure on themselves. Whereas you're just kind of like, well, I'm doing all, like, I cannot. What else can I do?
There's nothing
Like,
else I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel better than I was. You know, this scan in a couple of weeks' time is hopefully going to prove my theory right.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just got to crack on it. Yeah. 'Cause what's the other choice? Just not doing anything. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your appetite like around when you're around your chemo time and stuff?
it plummets. Yeah, more so. So like one of the mad side effects is nausea. And when you have, it's that kind of nausea that you get, you know, when you have like a really heavy night out, and the next day you're just like,
Yeah.
you don't feel sick as such, but you know that if you were sick, you'd feel way better.
Yeah.
But it's just constant. So like I do try and eat, but then that triggers off the nausea. And
Okay.
it's a bit off-putting, but at the moment now, I know I'm coming out at the end of that, and then it starts to, and then I guarantee in a couple of days I'll be ravenous.
Do they
All of a
load?
sudden I'll be like,
Do they load you up with IVs and stuff while you're in there?
Yeah, they have like a glucose IV and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I do have a dietitian on hand if I need one who's got like loads of medical. So I've got like protein shakes and weight gain and stuff if I need it. I've kind of chilled out on all that at the moment anyway, because I don't think it's really necessary because I'm eating actual food.
Yeah.
But they've given me like medical packs with like protein yogurts and mousses and little shakes and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So if
Yeah.
like worst comes to the worst, I have got supplements that I can take in and all that kind
Like
of
heavy calorie stuff
Yeah.
to try and get in your system.
yeah, just with all the essentials. But I'm eating really well at the moment, which is really good, because at the start I wasn't. Like I lost like 20 kilos in weight.
I was about to say,
Wow.
have you managed to put on much of the weight that you lost?
It's a weird one because it's like, so what I had before was like muscle from the gym.
Yeah.
So I've lost muscle weight very obviously.
How fast does that go?
I think it was like a couple of months, like 3 months. Well, May to September. That was probably it. Because I didn't really realise what was going on at the time, and I wish I had weighed myself at the start or to the end. But I have lost about, because my average weight was around 86 to 88 kilograms.
Yeah.
And I went down to 65.
Yeah, that's
I
big.
think, and now I'm around 70. Yeah. So it's one of those, because like obviously muscle weight is heavier, but then I'm putting on more fatty weight now, so I don't know what I've actually lost.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I am
Yeah, I
putting
know
weight
what you
back
mean.
on, but
Yeah.
not like heavy muscle
Yeah.
weight, so it's different. But I am much healthier. I feel like I'm much healthier, and I'm much more kind of consistent, a bit more level.
I feel like
I'm at my natural weight, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a
I feel like there was a photo of you that Beck put on Instagram, or like maybe on a story, like months ago, and I thought, oh god, like you looked like you lost a lot of weight. But then now I see you, I'm like, I feel like you put a lot of weight back on. in
Yeah,
that
see,
sense,
like people
you
have
put-
said to me, like I've like obviously because it's me, like I can't tell,
Yeah,
but obviously loads of people have said, like even like the guys at work, when it was really bad, they could see it in my face. They were like, "You look gaunt at this point in time," and I was like, and they said like, "You got no colour in your face either."
Yeah.
And that was like, yeah, and I was like, oh, right, is it that bad? Like, yeah. I was like, oh, shit.
yeah. But no, now,
But now I'm like, yeah, much better, which is good.
yeah, man.
What sort of mental health support, if any, have you been offered up to this point on this particular journey?
So, the NHS, I'd say this is where you really see them thriving. This is the good stuff.
Thriving?
Yeah.
Really?
This is the good stuff.
That's
honestly.
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
So like, I don't know, obviously, how it works with all the funding and how all the funding gets distributed and everything, but I feel like, so I go to, so obviously I'm based down in Birmingham, over in Solihull. So I'm at the Solihull Oncology Unit. And every time I go in there, it's like it's almost, you're almost on first name terms with all the nurses now.
Yeah.
And the work they do is incredible. Like it just seems like everything's just working. I guess it's more so because I guess cancer is more of a serious thing, and it's maybe they've got more funding, maybe they've got more access to
Yeah.
provisions
like
and
heightened
whatnot.
support. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the other thing is then you've got Macmillan Cancer Support, who I think are parts of the NHS but a charity at the same
Yeah.
time. I don't quite know the ins and outs. And Marie Curie as well. So they, like, the first few weeks it was just constant phone calls back and forth, and they're always checking up on you, and they're always saying if you do need anything, we are here.
Yeah.
Like, so I could
Yeah.
phone up Macmillan right now and say like, I've got this problem, or
Yeah.
whatever, or Marie Curie.
Just have a chat with someone.
But they also offer it to your family
Ah,
as well. So like,
good.
That's great. Yeah.
Beck's, I mean, to be fair, I know it's one for the boys, but Beck would be probably potentially be a really good guest
Yeah.
for the podcast. But 'cause she's like huge into the mental health stuff as well,
Yeah.
and she's called up Marie Curie to get like one-on-one, like talking therapy,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Yep, we'll book you in. We'll get you like we'll do a phone call consultation first, and go from there." So like the support that they offer,
That's
is
really good. Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Cannot. So like, and you almost feel, well, I almost feel bad not realizing how bad cancer was prior to being on this journey. Because like you hear about Macmillan, you hear about Marie Curie. I never knew what they did.
Yeah.
I knew they were there. I
Yeah.
never knew what they did. And now I know what they did. Or now I know what they do. I'm like, holy shit, these guys need
Yeah.
every ounce of support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they do
Yeah.
is incredible. Because it's like Marie Curie, for instance, they offer like physical therapy, like massage stuff, and apparently they have like little group meetups and all this kind. They just do all sorts of stuff.
Right, and imagine how many. So I don't obviously know what the figures are on how many people are suffering with cancer in the UK at the moment, but then add like times that by 3 or 4 people for everyone's families at the same time.
Apparently it's 1 in 2.
Really,
1 in 2
Crazy.
people.
it's a horrendously high stat, isn't
That
it?
is, yeah.
But for them, to
encompasses like, well, not small time, but stage 1 to stage 4.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
1
yeah,
in 2, man.
yeah.
Anyway,
But-
sorry.
no. But for them to encompass, like it's such an enormous jump in the quantity of people when you're saying like, right, well, if we just support everyone who's got cancer, that's one thing. But then to be able to support the families and offer support to the families of those people. So for every one person that's got cancer that Macmillan are supporting, you've then got 3 or 4 other
Yeah.
people to
Yeah,
potentially deal with. And
Yeah,
I think
it's insane.
that's an enormous amount of people.
And seeing it work as well, seeing how well they do with everything, I'm kind of like awestruck. I'm like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great to know there is support. Like when, like that's the thing with like guys that they sometimes feel like there's never support. Like I've definitely felt that when I struggled. I was like, there's going to be no support. And then you actually get help. You're like, holy shit, there's so much help here and good help.
But the problem is, though, on the flip side of it, though, if you were just suffering from mental health,
Yeah.
going through the NHS,
Yeah, like you said, waiting
Yeah.
systems.
Maybe it would be a bit
recommend
different.
I'd do it
Yeah.
privately, probably.
Yeah.
More so out of necessity rather than choice.
Well, that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
my girlfriend lost her dad 2 years ago, and yeah, they were sort of like not pushed into. Sorry, they were sort of encouraged to speak to someone, and all 3 of them were on the waiting list for absolutely ages.
Like a year.
And in the
Yeah.
end, they were like, we're just going to go private because
Yeah.
there's no point to this. Like, and there's also no end. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
they
exactly.
tell you it's going to be a year, but you
Yeah.
have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
And that's such an enormous period of time as well. Like if you're feeling, if you've got to the point where you've reached out to a service, it's not been happening for 5 minutes, has it? Like it's been going on for a long time. So
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
then be told
Yeah.
it's going to be 6 months, you're like, oh, you've been dealing with that for probably like a year and 6
Yeah.
months then, haven't you? By the
Yeah.
time you actually get to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I
fair
had,
point,
yeah, like my mental health at the beginning of self-employment to now in a year is completely different, I'd say. So like, yeah, if I then a year ago had gone like, oh, I'm going to go somewhere, and then they're like, okay, well, yeah, we'll see you in 8 months. I'd be like, huh? Like what? Like,
Yeah.
I could be in a completely different situation.
I don't think I'd even bother.
No,
Yeah.
you,
I'd be
yeah,
like,
but
oh,
like-
just give it to someone
but then
else.
at that
Yeah.
point as well, when you're at that point, the last thing you want to do is then having to sift through a ton of psychiatrists or whatever to try and find one that's suitable for you.
yeah.
Privately, you're just like, oh no, it's
and
the
that's
last thing I want to do.
it's like barriers, isn't it? Barriers to
Yeah.
entry of that. So
Yeah.
it's really good they have that support for you, like, and they can offer it to other people because it's I have heard incredible things,
Fantastic.
so it is amazing. But
That's a really interesting point, barriers to entry.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how do we make us away from the cancer side of things? Like, you reaching out for help initially, how do we get that barrier to entry lower?
So it needs to be like better signposting to the right.
So that it's just like, is this how you feel? Yes, wicked. Here's a person to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's going to be various different avenues because
there's so many levels to it.
Of course, but that initial contact needs to be so much more accessible and so much quicker, rather than it being. I can't actually say that I've ever actively tried to go and pursue help, because I feel like I've had a pretty good. Always feel like I've had a pretty good group around me, so I've always just reached out and I've tried to get better at speaking to the people around me. But even the thought of going to find external help for me just seems like too much effort.
I agree.
And I guess that's the barrier of like you trying to tell people. So you're like, I wanted to come on the podcast and talk about like this, of guys being able to either go and get himself checked, or just be able to then, how do you process and talk to somebody about this, I guess, at this age and things. So
yeah, I feel like being open is just super important, both for me and for anyone else who's either close to me or whatnot, because they can kind of be involved indirectly as well, so they can kind of get the updates and then kind of see where I'm at with stuff. But yeah, I feel like being open is just such a help.
Yeah,
I really do. Really,
for sure, man. Yeah. That's it. I feel like that's a nice way to end.
Yeah.
If you guys feel like
I'm good there.
Yeah, because it's like just go and talk to somebody. Just go, and if you're not feeling too well, just go and see somebody.
Chat.
Yeah.
What you need to do.
Get the finger up the bum or the arse pumping if you need it.
Arse pumping. What was the finger up the bum?
Is that the prostate one? Is that?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Lovely note to end on that.
Yeah. So hit that like and subscribe. Get all the plugs in. Give us a rating on Spotify. And yeah, thank you very much.
Cheers all.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.